box going downtown on the XR. I forgot to take a video before I got on the bike, but back to bringing those boxes down. Down to 14th Street, and then after that I'll go up to Bronx. Box is going to Manila, which I wish I was in Manila right now, but unfortunately can't be. So this thing's funky when you don't warm it up right. See hiccups until it gets running warm. I guess in wintertime your best bet would be to, if you have an XR, would be to run it for a while. I'll take this down, 10th Avenue down. Or 11th Avenue, sorry. South. Say down, some people don't like that. They're like, where are you going? Down the center of the earth? And south, I'm going down to Florida. Florida south, not down. Some people get upset. So for all you guys out there that don't like improper terms, because technically saying down is improper. You're not going down anywhere, you're going south. I've changed the rear brake pads. You do a lot of rear braking in the city, which you need to learn how to do. You know, if you do a lot of city riding, you really got to learn, and it took me so long to learn it. I mean, I just could not get my brain wrapped around the fact that when you have an emergency, like for example, let's say I was closer to that car that cut in front of me, or this person walking, and you needed to do some emergency braking, you've got to get your mind wrapped around the fact that braking is going to have to be with both brakes, which some motorcycles have combo braking. I had a motorcycle that had that, but it didn't change the rate. Like it was like 70-30, so 70% would be the front, and then 30% the rear, which not bad. I mean, it's a good for emergency if you don't know how to do both brakes. But sometimes you want to put everything into the rear because you're going slow enough that you're not going to skid. So and you're carrying a box or something, for example, or you have a passenger on the back. Rear braking actually will be very, very controllable, whereas a front brake is wonderful. I mean, it brings the motorcycle down abruptly to a stop. It dives the front end a little bit, but if you do too much front brake, you'll lose the front wheel, and you know, that's a disaster. You know, if you have a box on the back in the middle of 3rd Avenue and you go down with a box, all the contents of your box is going to end up on 3rd Avenue. So you don't want to lose the front wheel, and you also don't want to lose it like if you were somewhere where sliding would not work out well for you. Maybe you're going to slide into the back of a bus or something. You know, you don't know. So losing the front wheel because you don't have anti-lock brakes on a bike like this, an old school enduro, you've got to like train your brain. And I can't say it's easy because I practice and practice and practice, and then every time an emergency stop would come up, all that practice would just go completely to waste because my brain would bypass it and just grab a whole bunch of front brakes, you know. So I think really what you have to do is train your brain to do the combo braking. It's so important. braking is super important. Especially like something like this, you're coming along and a vehicle decides to turn right. You know, if you don't have anti-lock brakes, you might grab too much front brake. If you have a modern bike like that, like a BMW Adventure 1200, it's got all the bells and whistles in it to do what you need. So you're not going to have to worry about it. You just grab a whole bunch of brake and then the bike will figure it out. You don't need to worry too much. What the fuck is he doing? And I'm ditching it back in the bike lane because these people are just fucking shit up. So yeah, the brake thing, you train, and then bam, and an emergency comes, and you just can't get your brain around it. And I don't know what the answer is, because I just kept telling myself, you don't do this, you're gonna get hurt. And I said, you know, after every time that I didn't brake properly, I kept scolding myself, you stupid jerk, like, you're gonna get hurt, man, you're gonna get hurt. If you don't fucking learn this, you're gonna get hurt. And eventually it just became second nature. But then one thing I did notice though is when you don't do it for a while, you go right back to the fucking shit again. Like, it's so terrible. Like, so if you're not riding for a while, you revert right back to the same crap. It's so weird. I don't know what to say, man. I don't know if it, you know, I just don't know if the answer might just be that it should just be automatic, you know, on a bike, because there's so much involved to train yourself. And I guess it has to do with the type of person you are too, because like my neighbor said, he doesn't have any problem remembering to do combo braking, you know, like, but you know, he does have a bike with anti-lock brakes, so that takes half the equation out of it. You know, you don't have to worry about your brakes locking up, which, you know, that while you're braking heavy on the rear and the front, the bike's modulating the bike is you know, cycling the pressure to make sure that the wheel does not skid. So that's a lot. It's a lot of help, big time help actually. That if you have that, it helps you out big time. You know, having automatic modulated brakes. You have all the guesswork taken out of it. So yeah, but my neighbor did say he doesn't have a problem remembering. It doesn't wipe out from his memory. So I don't know what to say. I would say if you do happen to have an XR650, you're not going to have anti-lock brakes no matter what you do. So, and they're not going to upgrade it because the bike is under its grandfather. You know, so if they start changing stuff on the bike, they'll have to completely remodel it. So that's why it's going to stay the same. And to say you wouldn't want anti-lock brakes would be a false statement in my opinion. But off-road though, anti-lock brakes suck. So if you get a bike, make sure it has, if it's a dual sport, you want brakes that you can turn on and off, because having anti-lock brakes that you can't turn on and off when you're off-road would be a problem. It'd be a big problem, actually. You need to be able to turn that off-road, because if you have bike brakes that are modulating, you know, the pressure on dirt, you'll just modulate right into whatever it is you're trying to avoid, you know. And it would actually be downright dangerous, not having switchable anti-lock brakes. So yeah, that's gotta have that. And there'll be people rooting for you to go down in New York. You know, if you go down in New York, people will be rooting for it. They're fucking nasty. They're like, I told you so, those fucking things are dangerous. You know, it's there's no compassion here, you know, at all.